All right. Good. All right, as far as injuries go, or not practicing today, Austin Blythe making progress. He'll get a little work in this week, but he's not practicing today. And then Tyron's still in protocol, so we'll just see how that goes. He is getting better, which is a good thing. Anyways, listen, we look forward to playing the challenge of playing the Browns. We know they're a heck of a football team, and so our guys start the preparation and get ready to play in a great venue here at Arrowhead. So look forward to getting all our fans back in there and that place rocking. Anyways, with that time.
Cool. What's Frank Clark's status? Is he full go today? Or
Frank will practice today.
Coach, with the upgrades that Cleveland made in the offseason, where do you see the biggest challenge for this team? Obviously, with Odell Beckham returning and them having Jadeveon Clowney, where do you see the challenge?
So they made some changes on the defense, in the secondary and linebacker, and they brought in Jim Young. So, and then they've got Odell back, and so it's one of the better receiving corps in the league, and they've got a real good offensive line. And that is good. So and their runners obviously are good, one of whom we know very well. So again, they're well coached. Kevin, I mentioned this the other day, but Kevin does a nice job, and Phil Woods on the defensive side does a nice job. So they've got a very well coached football team.
Coach, regarding Tyron's status, I know it's kind of like a wait and see approach with him, but if he doesn't practice this week, is he the kind of player, and if he clears, is he the kind of player that can play without practice?
As long as everything's physically okay, Rick and the docs stay on top of that. So we're in communication with him, obviously. So if he can go, he'll go. If he can't, then he can't. Make sure he's safe to do it.
With Patrick as your starter, you've only lost 10 games, so it's not many experiences that you've had. And I'm not asking for the blueprint on how to beat the Chiefs or anything, but when you go back and look at losses, whether it's the stat sheets and the metrics or the game film, are there commonalities that stand out to you about the things that that get you?
Well, I'd probably tell you every one of them is a little different, but normally none of us do very well when it starts with me. So we normally handle that all together, but that's how it normally works. It's not one guy, it's not one thing. So we try to correct them, try to get better from them. So I can't point to one thing.
when you look at Nick Bolton's progress from the start of camp until now, was there a particular area that you're really happy with his improvement as opposed to just general improvement?
Who was playing?
Nick Bolton.
So listen, Nick, I've said before, we thought he had good instincts. He's got good instincts, and he's a physical player. So, and he's smart. You guys dealt with him, so you know this. But he's a smart kid and very quiet. And he can process, and if he makes a mistake, he normally doesn't do it twice. So, I think he's made improvement just from the sheer fact of learning everything and getting it all down. And we have a lot of confidence in him.
As you alluded to with the first question, the Browns have built one of the better defensive fronts in the league. How much of a benefit, in a sense, not to say they're not going to face challenges every week, but how much of a benefit is a challenge of this caliber for your rookies, especially along the offensive line?
Yeah, that'll be a fun one to watch because their interior players are real good too, so and experience. And so yeah, it'll be a great experience for our guys to have the opportunity to play against them, being as young as they are. So.
Kevin Stefanski talked about sending waves of defensive players in just to keep them fresh. With your depth on the offensive line, how, when you think about what he said, does that change anything dramatically for you?
No, I think that's a pretty common thing from defensive fronts that we've seen. They'll do that. So they've got a good group of guys. They're good, healthy, two deep with good players. So. And so I'm sure I'd be surprised if they didn't do that.
Andy, you guys won a lot of close games last year. I mean, when you look back at that, I mean, obviously you won 14 games, but was there something at the start of games maybe, or is that sort of an emphasis to try and get out of those situations? Like,
Yeah, so we went through a little phase there where we didn't start fast, and but kind of picked it up as we went. And I tell you that, I mean, it's a crazy stat, but the number of games in this league that are determined by 7 points or less is ridiculous. I mean, it's there's so much parity. So I analyze those things and look at them, but to get better. But you prepare, you know, obviously with all the situational football that you prepare for, in case you're in that mode, just by the analytics. It's ridiculous.
Coach, you've been on both sides of the Super Bowl when you won and when you've lost. Coming into this season, what will constitute success for this team? Because when you look at the talent, the expectations that the players have gotten, AFC Championship game and the Super Bowl win, the Super Bowl loss, is anything less than a hosting a Lombardi Trophy at the end of the season a success, failure, disappointment?
I don't think you go there right now. I mean, you work on what you can control, and that's right now. It's the game plan and making sure we master that and master the opponent the best we can before game time. And then once you get in the game, then it's take care of each play, literally, and figure all that out. So, and so you really don't even let your mind go that other direction. You can't. I mean, you can't control that part. So you try to really focus on the things you control and don't let those hurdles get in the way of your thought process.
Well, and the only reason why I asked that because last year the thing was to run it back, so they had Super Bowl in mind, and so I just didn't know if anything had changed this year.
Yeah, once you're in it, though, I mean, that's all. That's good. I mean, we're all striving to get to the Super Bowl win. So I mean, that's everybody in the league. But going through the process is right now. I mean, you're asking me today. It's important that you take care of what you can control. That's mastering this game plan and mastering the guys you go against and studying them and go play.
Last two of what Todd been saying.
A little bit more. Tyron you say he's getting better. So is he having some symptoms?
No, it was test review.
Oh, test review.
I probably don't know as much as you do.
Right.
I mean, I'm told that his tests are getting better.
So he'll have to get 2 tests. So does he have to come out here to do those? I just logistically, he can't be here.
Out, but
He has to stay away and do that. And then on Baker and that offense, you mentioned Kevin Stefanski before. I remember a couple of years ago when you guys played them, maybe 3 years ago, they fired their coach that week, and they had so much upheaval. You haven't seen much of them yet this year, but what do you think having the same coaching staff and all that the second year in a row for the group that has the talent they have can do for them?
Yeah, so listen, I've known Kevin for a while. He's a Philadelphia kid and was playing, Penn there, the whole deal. So went to the same high school where my son, anyway, so I've watched him kind of grow up. Brad Childress hired him and so on. And one thing he's always been is very thorough and he's dedicated to the game. He's a smart kid. So you can see that in his operation there. And he's done a very nice job in that.
Andy, is there something you enjoy in particular about the opener, the fact that you have less on tape, the teams have seen less on you guys heading into the season?
Yeah, I mean, listen, for the first 3 games, that's the way it is. It's, once you get past that 3rd game, now you've got at least some data. So it's that way for everybody, and it's that way both sides of the ball. Not that there always isn't. They might, they could do this, but you come into it new and fresh. It's, you expect there'll be something that you haven't seen, and you have to adjust it. Yeah.
Quickly, Nate. Following up on what Sam just asked, Andy, does the play sheet stay about the same as what it was in the opener last year? How much does it expand or maybe condense because you have obviously 5 new offensive linemen?
Yeah, so I mean, you sit and you do all your off-season projects and evaluations and scheme evaluations, and so you keep certain things, you move things around a little bit, and that's kind of what everybody does, I believe, and so then you cut it loose and see how it works, right? And so that's where you're at right now.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Yep.
All right, guys, by the way.
Hey, Patrick, condolences first of all on the loss of your grandmother. We'll be praying for you and the family. When you look at this game, what's going to be most important? What's going to be the biggest standout when you face that Cleveland defense with the revamped defense that they bring in?
Yeah, I think they have a lot of good players. I think that's the biggest thing. They have a lot of talented players at every single position. They have a good mixture of young guys and veteran guys that have made plays in this league before. And so for us, it's about executing. If you don't execute versus a defense like this, you won't score points. So it's going to be a lot of execution that we're going to have to do on Sunday.
Yeah, Patrick, you've only lost 10 games as a starter in this league, so it's not a lot of experience there as a loser. But is there any commonality when you go back and look at those games? Is there a stat or a metric or anything on film that you go back and look at and say, okay, that's a reason why? That's something that kind of gets you from time to time?
I don't know if there's one thing. I mean, you lose games in this league all different types of ways. But I think what Coach Reid preaches is situational football. In this league, everyone's pretty much even. So it's whoever executes the best in those third downs, those short yardage, those red zone situations are usually the teams that win.
Hey, Patrick, have you spent much time thinking about that divisional playoff game and not being able to finish and hit any of that stuff?
Other than when I watched the film, not really. I mean, it was a good game. Even before I got injured, and after I got injured, it still was a really good football game. And we were able to find a way to win the game. And same thing, a big fourth down conversion at the end of the game. So you know that it's a really good football team coming in. So you have to be prepared to go out there and have your best game if you want to win.
Patrick, what made you feel prepared for your first opener in 18? And how much of that has changed in terms of how you feel prepared for this game on Sunday?
Yeah, I'm sure at the time I felt very prepared, but I mean, now looking back on it, I feel like I wasn't prepared at all. I just kind of went out there and started slinging it, and Tyreek was running all over the field. No, I definitely feel more prepared now just because I have a better grasp of the offense. I have a better grasp for what it takes to win football games, and understand that you have to put in the work every single day of the week if you want to have a chance to win on Sundays.
Patrick, every year since you've been here, you guys have started off, I think, 4-0, 5-0, something like that, including your rookie year. Something you can put your finger on as to why you guys have been able to start all of these seasons so quickly?
Yeah, I think we just stress the importance on starting the season fast. We have a very tough training camp, as everyone knows, where we really compete and go at it every single day at practice. And I think that prepares us to be ready to go from day one. I think just stressing the importance. We've kind of came out in my time at least with a lot of really good football teams up early in the season, and we know that if you lose a game in September, it could cost you at the end of the season as far as seedings if you're trying to get in the playoffs. And so we just stress the importance knowing that we're playing a lot of really good football teams at the beginning of the year.
Are there areas where you feel like you've really made improvements since the start of camp?
Yeah, I think just kind of building that communication, continue to get better and better within the offense. I think the biggest thing in this offense is there's still chapters I have to learn. There's still stuff that I have to continue to get better at and master. And Coach Reid, just every single time I think I'm at that point, he just keeps giving me a little bit more information that I can learn. So it keeps me on my toes and keeps me going and getting better every single day.
One of the things that you talked about, Patrick, I believe in the offseason was you wanted to make sure that this upcoming season you be more accurate and staying in the pocket some. Besides that, do you feel like you've done that? But then also, obviously, the team success is going to go as far as you being healthy. Have you tried to reel yourself in to make sure that you perhaps don't, run option plays or something, to try to get yardages to keep yourself upright or keep safe, or you just a football player and whatever happens, happens?
Yeah, well, to your first part, I feel like I have gotten better from within the pocket. I'll continue to work on that, and as I build these relationships with this offensive line and all these guys that we have going. And I think I'll always be who I am. I always will scramble around. I always will run and try to make plays happen. That's just the competitor in me. I'm not going to be running anyone over like I was in college, but I'll try to still run, make some plays happen, and get down and keep myself safe if I can.
You got 5 new linemen this week one, and you did last week one. What tangible things have you seen from them, either in training camp or preseason, that or you feel more protected, or you're going to feel more comfortable maybe on Sunday?
Yeah, I mean, there's obviously all extremely talented. We have veterans on the left side there that are Pro Bowlers, guys that have dominated in this league for a while now. And then we have young guys who came out of college and they were really good in college and they've really picked up and learned the offense extremely fast. And I think that whole offensive line group, they've really brought out the best of each other. They've competed this entire camp. And I'm excited to go out there and show it off here at the Week 1 Arrowhead.
Hey Patrick, 100% capacity on Sunday. How excited are you to welcome the fans back into the stadium? And what's that energy going to do for you guys on game day?
Yeah, I mean, I'm extremely excited. I think I kind of tweeted out watching college football and seeing those environments and kind of got me ready to go for this week. And then I kind of told some of the guys, I was like, man, y'all have to keep me calm. I think running out of that tunnel at Arrowhead and seeing those fans and them going crazy and just enjoying that moment will be special, and I'm sure it'll help us on the football field as well.
Patrick,
because of the preparation thing that Nate asked earlier, do you feel more prepared for this opener than maybe you did in 18? How much more expansive is the playbook? Because, I mean, like you mentioned, adding chapters every year, is it significantly bigger? Is it just a little bit?
I think it's so different. I think that's the biggest thing. I think Coach Reid does that year in, year out. No matter how we do the year before, is we go out there and he really tries to emphasize and maximize our strengths. And obviously, teams change every single year, and so the playbook changes every single year. And so I think that's what's kept us kind of having success in this league is that every single year we're coming up with new plays and we're not staying stagnant on where we're at.
Does that make it a little bit enjoyable for like a season opener because teams haven't seen that sort of thing yet?
Yeah, for sure. But at the same time, if you're not ready to go for the season opener, especially when you're playing at home, I don't know what's going to make you ready. So it's definitely exciting. We're playing a really good football team. It'll be a great test for us to see where we're at, and I'm excited for it.
Patrick, you mentioned the line. You guys kind of identified them pretty early in camp that this was going to be the 5 new starters. How have you seen them progressing together, and what's that going to be like, especially for the new guys? That's first ever actual NFL game. This isn't preseason. This is the real deal. How long do you think it'll take them to kind of really gel together as a unit?
Yeah, well, to the first part, I feel like as the training camp went on and they kind of started building that thing and they were together kind of every single day, you started seeing how they communicate, how they were able to make the calls quickly and get them across the whole entire offensive line. And obviously, they'll be excited for the first game. I mean, all of us will be. But I think them leaning on the veterans in their room and the veterans on our team, they'll know that they'll settle in and they have what it takes. They just got to go out there and show it. That's on Steve.
Patrick, most guys start the season, they have team goals, personal goals. What are your personal goals that you want to achieve this season?
Yeah, it's just I want to win every single day. I think that's what we're preaching. We have the first day of practice. I guess you say real game week practice for the Cleveland Browns today. So I'll go in with the mindset I'm gonna be the best I can possibly be at practice, so that I'm preparing myself for Sunday. Okay, that's better.
All right, guys. Well, Travis and Clyde coming next year.
Got the hair back.
What's the excitement level right now? You get full capacity. The Browns, your old hometown team, coming in.
We got the base game plan in, and we're just ready to rock and roll, man. Ready to get out there in front of the fans and play a meaningful game.
First time we're seeing you after the 53-man roster cut down. What do you have in this deep 4-man tight end room, do you think?
I mean, I think we got a lot of mismatch problems, man. It is what it is. I think we got great athletes, especially the 2 young guys coming up and being, very professional early on in their career, taking notes and figuring out, natural instincts to be able to go out there and play in the field. And then obviously the veteran aspect of Blake Bell and having him in the room and knowing that he knows the offense already, and we just keep growing, man. There's a lot of possibilities that we could do with that group.
Travis, when you run 12 personnel, it's called Tiger. So if you go out there and incorporate 14, what's the name of that package?
That one's T-Rex, Tiger.
T-Rex.
Right. Yeah, there you go. T-Rex, baby.
Travis, with all the fans back on Sunday, what's that energy going to do for you guys in the field?
Oh man, it's hard to say at this point. I mean, I'm just fired up to get out there and play a meaningful game, let alone get out there in front of Kansas City again. We were lucky enough to actually have fans last year, and we know it wasn't full capacity, so it wasn't what Arrowhead is usually. But at the same time, man, it's just exciting to get out there and play a meaningful game. I think Arrowhead's going to show up and do their part. They always do.
Travis, I asked Andy this when he was up, but being that you've played in the AFC Championship game, then last 2 Super Bowls, as a player, anything less than hoisting up the Lombardi for you, how would you consider that season? Will it be a failure, disappointment, or
I
what?
said last year's a failure. It's a failure every year you don't have. I've had 8 years where I've failed and 1 year where I've actually, accomplished all the goals and had a successful season. That's just how I look at it, man. I'm stuck in that mode, really. I mean, it's just either you find a way to win the Lombardi or you gotta figure something out next year.
And to that point, we saw where Tyrant, was in the COVID protocol. Are you all willing to make the same sacrifices like you did last year if it means to keep the positive test down, that you all, maybe even though you're mostly vaccinated, that you don't go out in the public, that you go, practice, game, Uber Eats, DoorDash and stuff to make sure that, you don't have any type of outbreak or anything this season?
Yeah, I think we got good leadership, good guys that actually want to play and are taking the right precautions outside the field, and outside the locker room. There's certain things that you just have to do to make sure that you're able to play week in, week out. And, I'm sure everybody's trying to take those precautions. Obviously, we're still dealing with COVID, so you're still trying to get a grasp of how that world works, knowing that we're still early on in it. And from there, just like I said, try and be accountable to the guys next year and make the right decisions.
Travis, are there certain principles that you can take from the playoff game, or do you look at it as it may in some ways be a disadvantage because you know how much you guys have changed and you can expect that from the Browns?
I mean, you can always learn from previous games. Whether it's the defensive coordinator, how he felt that he was able to slow us down or stop us, and maybe even new players coming in. I think there's about five guys, maybe 6 guys that we actually played against last year that are still there, at least in the starting lineup that I've seen. And going from there, it's just making sure that you know your matchups, make sure that you know exactly what you're getting yourself into in situational football, and go on from there. But you can always learn from the previous games.
Travis, you talk about matchups, and teams are going to try to take away from what Tampa Bay did and have young linebackers that are able to get out in space, cover you. How have you changed your game this offseason?
I had to evolve, man. I had to figure out ways to still be accountable, and that's what I've taken pride in my entire career. Mm-hmm. And I'm still, honored to be out there with these guys in this locker room, and we're going to go ahead and go to work. I know exactly what happened last year and how teams think that they can slow it down, but we also got a great mind in terms of Andy Reid and Eric Bieniemy and this offensive staff to get myself and everybody else in the building opportunity to have success with the play calls, and that's exactly where we're at.
Is there anything you can elaborate on that without giving something away, and how you feel like you've evolved because of the way teams try to defend you?
I mean, yeah, you gotta trust Coach Reid and his mastermind. To be honest, it's you understand exactly, like I said, while watching film from last year, you understand how teams are going to want to try and slow you down or stop you. And from there, you just got to find different ways to critique the offense into getting open. And I've trusted Coach Reid with that my entire career, and I haven't been let down. So definitely fired up for this first game.
You all have gotten off to a real good start over the last few years. Your first 5 or 7 games, you're playing playoff teams that performed last year. How important is it for you all to impose your will and to get off to a good start once again to kind of impose your dominance?
And that's every single year, right? You want to get off to a great start, set yourself up for the long haul. Start fast, finish fast. Start fast, finish strong. That's always been the mentality here. To be able to come out the gates ready, both mentally and physically, and then be able to finish the game physically and mentally in the same regard. And it's just it's something that we trust Coach Reid with. That's why we had training camp the way we did, and it's why we work the way we do.
Travis, you guys haven't lost a game in September in a long time now. Something you can put your finger on as to why you guys last several years have started the season so fast?
I think it has to go back to what I was saying with Coach Reid and this offensive staff, being able to present a new look for the defense. And maybe something they haven't seen before. It just wrinkles to a lot of the stuff that we've done. It kind of puts them at a reactionary position early on, and I guess as the season goes on, sometimes teams, they get paid too, right? It's like teams are out there to stop you and scheme you up. So I think it's just it's an ongoing process to keep trying to be, the one that's ahead in terms of the mind game or the chess game. And from there, it's just going out there and executing. I think we've got a lot of guys these last couple of years that we can go out there and start fast.
Travis, when you played in Cleveland, it seemed like you were particularly fired up. I know there was a playoff game last year, but you're still involved in your hometown to some extent, doing things there. Just how special is it for you every time you do get to play the Browns, especially given this is going to be week 1 too?
I mean, this is outside of last year's playoff game. I feel like this has even more anticipation just because it's the first game of the year. We did meet up in the playoffs last year. The Browns have been getting a lot better and a lot better over the years, and now obviously they're a playoff team. They're a championship caliber team. So we just have to go out there and be ourselves, man. Execute, do our things. I'm always fired up to play football, man. My first jersey was a Burning Kozar Browns jersey, so I'm familiar with the area. Obviously, I just got a lot of love for the fans and the family back home. But right now, I'm a Chief, baby, in this Chiefs kingdom.
After watching them over the years, is this the best team that you've seen that they've had?
Without a doubt.
Hey, Travis, you've had a lot of accolades in your career, but this year with the NFL 100, being ranked as highly as you were, does that mean something to you, especially at this point in your career?
I mean, I definitely have some honor in that. I definitely, without a doubt, think this is very cool to, get that respect from the guys throughout the league. I still, like I said, when it came out, I still think there's like some type of question on how you exactly rank a guy in such a team sport, but at the same time, I'm appreciative of it. It just makes me want to work harder.
Last two,
Travis,
Debo and then Nate.
You're a brand new offensive line that you guys had from the Super Bowl last year. What are you seeing from them as they progress through camp, especially the young guys? This will be their first NFL start.
Yeah, we just got to make sure that they feel comfortable. That's the biggest thing. That's what the leaders in this locker room are for. That's what, Pat Mahomes is back there for. He's going to make sure everybody feels at ease and feels comfortable in our house, even though bullets are flying for the first time with this new offensive line. And to be honest, a new team. Every year you have to rebuild this thing. It's got to look different from last, or else you're going to get caught up in the scheme of things. So just, I don't know, figuring it out, trying to make sure that they, like I said, feel at ease, and we'll go from there.
You confident with what you've seen from them, though? I mean, that they're ready for this?
Without a doubt. Without a doubt. I got no questions on our guys right now. I mean, we've been flying around. The last time we were together, that preseason game, we felt like we finally got the ball rolling and got some momentum going, some chemistry out there on the field, and how to really go out there and fight for each other.
Last one, Nate.
With what you said earlier, Travis, about new wrinkles, new plays, obviously making the defense even more reactionary than they want to be. What does that feel like on the field when you know it's the first game you guys have been planning weeks, months for such a look? What's that like for you before the ball is snapped?
I think I think you can start to anticipate things a little bit faster, especially with the new wrinkles. You start to get an understanding of why we're calling the plays, exactly how I want to, run my route or get my guy blocked, depending on the leverage that I have. And it's just, you play a little bit faster, you play a little bit quicker, because you get so much time to prepare. So it's just understanding the game plan, understand the play callers, mentality, and going out there and execute.
Thanks, Trav. Appreciate it.
Okay, well,
Thank you, Trav. I should like Schefter here, man.
Look through the window.
We got humans in the room now. All right, guys, fire away.
Clyde, this time last year, a little different. You feel better prepared coming into the first game as Chief?
Oh yeah, most definitely. Just really having that off time to have my first time having being able to have the same offense since my junior year of high school, having every year LSU was a different offense going into the next season. So this is the first time I've actually had the same offense going into the offseason. So I feel pretty prepared.
Are you healthy going into Sunday's game?
Towards the end of training camp, with the ankle injury, where are you health-wise right now, and do you project to be a full go for the Browns game?
Oh yeah. I feel 100% healthy, and right now I'm ready to go.
Could you have played in that last preseason game if it had been a real game?
Oh yeah, most definitely.
Yeah, that was my question.
Spent a lot of time talking to Patrick about the relationship with the new offensive line. What is that process like for you? Where you at right now?
You know, it's just like, you know, learning any new group of people or just learning individuals, and that's kind of the thing. You really can't learn people by groups. You know, it's really just getting to know people individually and just kind of understanding who they are as a person, and that's kind of how I was brought up. I'm not just gonna be like, hey, all y'all, we all go do the same thing and hopefully get the same reaction out of everybody. It's really just understanding who they are as people, and really, I mean, that's my dogs, bro. So, you know, just really being as close as I can to them. Everything becomes mutual at that point. Everybody kind of understands, you know, the things that we're trying to get done, and then personally, they know, you know, what's his goal and the things that we want to get accomplished. So it all ends up works out, you know, once you get a good communication and good understanding of who's on it.
Looking at this offensive line and how massive it is, and you know, size and weight wise, you know, do you have a personal goal like behind this offensive line compared to last year? What you may expect to try to rush for?
Man, everything right me for now is kind of team oriented, and that's the thing. You know, you always have those individual, you know, accolades that you want to accomplish, but you know, just knowing everything is new, just having an understanding of everything, actually being able to get a grasp of the offense going into year two. My big thing wasn't like, oh, individually, I want to, you know, rush for this and rush for this. It's more for me just how can we gel as fast as we possibly can with an entirely new offensive line. So that's kind of the kicker right now. You know, as y'all can see, nobody played a full game in the preseason, so just really being able to mesh is going to be the thing for the upcoming days.
But to that point, though, I mean, there were a couple of drives, I believe it was against Arizona, where you know you run through the hole and you've already got 9-10 yards just like that. And I'm sure when you go back to the hole, you're like, damn, we can do this a lot.
Oh yeah, most definitely, and that's one of those things that make you happy and makes you smile. I mean, that was literally the first run of the game. So you know, it's one of those things you get excited about, and you know the things that we can do, but you also know every game is 4 quarters and it's a long season now. So just being able to do that week in and week out, everybody staying healthy and really, you know, just like I said, just having that mesh from the beginning. Those were, you know, those plays and just kind of kicking off the game like that was one of those things that we always talked about, and that's kind of how relationships kind of started. You know, like how do you like running the ball? How, you know, just having those conversations with the O-line and really individually just understanding, okay, well, certain guys might be like, well, I might go, you know, full speed, head down at a person and just try to blow them out, or they might just, you know, re-leverage and then try to block a person like that. So it's all really an understanding and 11 pieces on the field trying to work as one unit. That's our goal, man.
Where do you think you've come when it comes to pass protection since you started as a rookie now going into your second year?
Everything was about just trending in the right direction, and nobody's going to be 100% perfect at everything, but I'm confident. EB's confident. Pat's confident. That's really the biggest thing. You know, having Pat standing next to me and really knowing, like, okay, as far as protection and understanding the scheme, he knows what's going on. But ultimately, really picking up the guy that needs to be picked up. And right now, everything's kind of hitting the nail on the head. So I feel more than confident.
I asked EB a couple weeks ago about teams, what they want to do, and just take away what you guys do well, which was, you know, pass the ball first. Has there been a point of emphasis of, hey, we're gonna run the ball more, or is that something that you guys worked on, you know, in the offseason?
I would say it's always a thing. I mean, running and throwing the ball is kind of, you know, it's whatever they're trying to stop, we can do the other. And I feel like that's how the season kind of started last year. It was, everybody knows, you know, who Pat is. They know who Trav was. They know who 10 is, and they know our game. They know who's throwing the ball, and we started running the ball. And that's just, you know, nobody knew what was really going to happen. And you know, for the most part, I want to say I was top 5 in rushing. I want to say through like week 9 or 10. So those are the things that we are able to do because we are, you know, an offense that we feel is gelling and meshing together. So, you know, if they try to stop one thing, we go for the other, and we feel like if we can execute and just really understand the things that we're doing at practice, doing it full speed like y'all see every day, it kind of just transcends right onto the field.
But personally, is that something that you take pride in? Like, hey, if you're gonna stop these three guys, I'm gonna beat regardless.
My goal is to not be taken down by one person, and it's always just kind of been my mentality. And then other than that, like I said, well, I've said multiple times before, just everything is about the situation on the field. It's not just, oh, these guys out here playing football and, just doing bonehead things. We're actually, in a certain situation, in a scenario, getting things from the sideline that we need to understand and go out there and execute on the field. So it's really a lot going on the field. So it's not just, oh, I'm just trying to go get these, however many yards for a game. It's in that pinpointed situation, what is the goal and how can we execute this mission for this play? There's only one play at a time, so I don't want to think about everything else after.
Clyde, kind of an off-topic question, but with the storm that hit Louisiana, I'm just wondering, did that affect your family or family's homes or anything?
Yeah, I mean, it's for the most part, it affected I don't want to say the entire Louisiana, but it's always, man, when you see a hurricane coming in and knowing where it's going to be at in the Gulf, we just kind of know. And everybody says, well, why not evacuate? And it's just, it's not always the best thing to do for money, time, school, just the whole 9 yards with how it goes down there. But, my couple trees, couple fences down, kind of like that. I don't want to say normal maintenance because everybody here is not used to it, but that normal maintenance, man, cutting trees, redoing fences, trying to figure out, if any house is flooded and gutting those, and it's a never-ending cycle, and it's just kind of what it is, and take it with a grain of salt and roll with it and make it happen the next day.
Clyde, this will be your first chance to go out there here at home in front of a full crowd in the regular season games. What are your expectations for that? What can that energy do for you out there on the field?
The only time that I've been in a stadium when it was full was for the Garth Brooks concert, and that was, it was pretty exciting and pretty live. But I didn't want to psych myself out on, really getting to take in, Arrowhead in total. It's one thing sitting in the stands, but when you can put on a helmet and be on the field, and then the stadium is filled, you tend to have a different outlook on a stadium. So. The last time I played a full game was in New Orleans with a full crowd for the national championship. So it's going to be a pretty surreal moment for me, most definitely.
The offense spent a lot of time during the offseason working on some situations from last year, especially like red zone and short yardage. Do you feel like that you guys have improved significantly through that work? And as a running back, in those situations, situational football, you get juiced up more for those downs than some other downs?
Oh yeah, I mean you would. The things that we try to get accomplished with the situational things in the spring and fall, you want to try to get as much as you can live without anything happening. So you really want to say that you worked out the kinks as far as those special situations. But the only time to tell is when the bullets are flying and everything's all go. So as far as the things that we've put in and tried to get done as far as with the special situations, I mean, I feel great about it, and nobody else in the building is complaining. So and I don't think I'm up high on the totem pole in the standpoint of really making offensive calls. So if they're all good with it, then I am too.
Okay, thanks, Clyde. Appreciate it.
No problem. Thank y'all.
All right, guys, that's it.